And last but not least, we once again would like to invite to this stage our very special guest, Dr. Ricardo Vargas.
My friend, thank you. Hi, everyone. I'm back here and now to talk about AI and try to figure out and try to understand what is happening and how artificial intelligence is changing project management. Before I start, I just want to tell you a story, a quick story that is based on what we discuss here in the panel. How AI happened to me, I would say in the past 10 months, 1 year. The first article I wrote about AI goes back to 2015. And I was using artificial intelligence and neural networks to select and identify, to select projects and identify project management costs. The cost of managing a project based on historical information of previous projects. And this paper you can find on my website and also at PMI website. This was presented in 2015 at the PMI conference. Then, last December, the first week of December, I am board advisor and shareholder of a venture in Estonia called Yera that works with HR and use artificial intelligence to help with micro rewards. It's something like, just to make complex things simple, it's like a mileage program. When you travel, you get miles. So when you deliver things on time, and when you deliver things you expect, you get these points, and then you exchange these points for whatever you want. It's not a bonus at the end of the project, but micro rewards. And then the CEO of this company, Eduardo, he called me. I was in Dubai taking waiting for my flight to Malaysia, to Kuala Lumpur. And then he called me and said, Ricardo, have you seen what OpenAI released? Because I heard about OpenAI and say, oh, it's something like ChatGPT and generative. And then I was at the VIP lounge in Dubai, and I start looking to that. In the flight, I changed my whole presentation that I was delivering for the conference in Petronas, and I started with ChatGPT. And then what was the reason I did that? Because the best thing you can do when you are with fear about something is to learn. Because when you understand what is behind, you reduce your fear. And what I want here is just to start by showing you these two photos. These are two, I would say, nice photos, beautiful photos, two landscape photos. One of them is real. One of them is AI-based. So you don't need to answer to me. Just try to guess. Oh, this is real. That one is real. This. Just try to figure out. Because the answer is this here, this photo that looks beautiful, it's AI generated. This place does not exist. It was created by Dream Studio AI, okay? And this one is a human-made photo, and it's available on Get Images. And why I did that? Because it's not very easy to say, oh, to spot quickly, say, oh, this is real and this is AI-based. And this brings me to these three gorgeous photos. This is so impressive, right? When we see these photos, these three beautiful images, very, you know, the lightning, the expression. This is amazing. But none of them exist. These are not photos. These people do not exist. They were all generated by AI. And this is happening everywhere. And take a look on the Chancellor Angela Merkel and President Obama. This is also using stable diffusion created artificially. So what we are facing today, and I think there are two quotes that I use always. Let me just try to come here. That I use always, and they are very much the expression of what is happening today. The first one is this one. It's, in my lifetime, I have seen two demonstrations of technology that struck me as revolutionary. First one in the 80s, when the graphical interface was created. Then the second one was last year. And I was not the one saying that. This is Bill Gates in his Gates notes of March this year. The second one is even more, I would say, strong. And the next one, it's saying, I have said it before, AI is one of the most profound things we are working on. It's more profound than fire or electricity or anything we have worked on. Look, for someone to say that is more powerful than light and electricity and fire, this is bold, right? This is truly bold for someone to say. And who said that is Sundar Pichai, the CEO of Google. I would say probably one of the top 5 most influential people in tech. And he said, when I saw this, I read this, I thought, this is fake news. He didn't say that. This cannot be true. But it's true. If you go to the World Economic Forum website, and you will hear him saying that. So what is happening? So we are in the middle of a very big revolution. And why AI now? AI is not new. Okay, we're talking about people are studying AI and trying to make computers to mimic humans for the past 60 years. So what is different now comparing to the past? Is that up to a couple of years ago, AI was basically used to discriminate things. As I said here in the panel, is it a cat or is it a dog? Remember this, everybody that studied machine learning learned this algorithm that you say, oh, you train looking for cats and then you understand what we should expect from a cat, and when you see a photo, you say yes or no. This is discriminative AI. What happened last year, and I would say made public last year, is that AI is able to generate things. And this is a whole new game. It's a whole new game. It's to create cats. It's to not saying this photo is a cat or not. No, let's create a photo of a cat that does not exist. Let's create a video that does not exist. Let's create an audio that does not exist. Let's summarize a document writing in natural language. And this is what drove Antonio Nieto and I to write our article. And we were very lucky with the article. Very few people know about this, but we wrote this article in October last year. And then Antonio called me and he said, I'm sending to HBR. And I told him, Antonio, let's not do that now. Why? Because HBR takes around 40 days to publish. They will publish close to Christmas and the end of the year. Nobody will read that because at that time, you know, it's a very bad time for you to release anything unless you want to sell things that, you know, for Christmas or for the end of the year. So you don't release a book or an article 1 week before Christmas. You don't do that. And then what we did, we waited a little bit, and Antonio said, so I will do differently. I will send to them by December, then they will publish in mid-January to the end of January, and then it will be fine. And then that flight happened. And then I called him when I arrived in Malaysia, say, did you send? Ask them to halt, to stop. We need to change the article because we need to include what is happening. And then in February, the article was released. And it was, for me, a gift for me, but also for project managers, because this article stayed 9 weeks on the top list of HBR. And for a project management content, it's something very, very nice. And on this article, we said how one profession could be transformed by artificial intelligence. And then, after that, several things started to happen. So from this 2019, saying that 80% of the work of project management will be eliminated by 2030, to this absolutely disruptive report of Goldman Sachs. And this is brutal. Goldman Sachs published this report. You can download the report here on the QR code on 26th of March 2023. And look this yellow. Generative AI could substitute up to 1/4 of the workforce, 25. This is about 300 million full-time jobs. And this is Goldman Sachs. So imagine the impact of what we are talking here. And then we start thinking, okay, which are the aspects that we believe are being transformed in project management? So we try to identify, okay, if we can start thinking about what can be changed by this technology in our field, we started to organize our ideas. The first one, it's, okay, how we can select and prioritize things. And this can be project selection and prioritization, okay? This can be, but also any type of selection. For example, personnel, contracts, suppliers. Every time that I need to compare different things, I can do this. And I want to use and show you an absolutely disruptive example. And this is, for me, one of the best examples I could provide to you. And it's Highview. Highview, it's a recruiting platform, highview.com. And these two, they work helping organizations to do recruitment, to find people. Let me go back and try to figure out how recruitment usually happens. You do an advertisement of a job. People submit their CV or their LinkedIn profile, okay, they submit. You do an initial screening, right? You take 1,000 people, you do a screening, reducing them to 100, then you explore a little bit further, this 100, then you reduce to 30, then you do a first round of interview, you reduce to 10, then you do a second round until you have these 3, 4 final candidates, and you select the one you want, right? This is, I would say, the normal process. Highview disrupted that. And why? Not because Highview used AI to screen CVs. Honestly, every single company already does that. Every time you submit your CV to any position, the first entity that looks your CV, it's not a human. That's for sure, okay? And this is not new. But what Highview brought that is completely new. Highview said one thing. Highview said, what about interviewing candidates? Because usually when you interview candidates, what do? You use a human to interview, right? A human sit and say, oh, thank you for coming, what? And then you ask, what, right? So what Highview does, you are interviewed but by an avatar. Yes, not by a human. And the avatar asks you the questions, understand your answers, ask follow-up questions, and at the same time, analyze. I will speak slowly to make sure you all understand. Checks 95,000 non-verbal trends on you during the interview. It means you raise your hand, you smile, whatever. I don't even know how 95,000 aspects can be evaluated. And they combine that. And what do? They do not interview 1,000, remember, then 130. No, what they do? Let's interview everybody. Why? Because they work 24 hours per day, the avatar. It can interview 20 people at the same time, right? So what I do, I interview all of them, and then I have a record in my database of 1,000 interviews. And over time, what I do, I learn about visual cues, expressions. And look, we do that, right? When you are interviewing someone, you will not check and say, where did you graduate? This is a dumb question, because it means I don't know how to read your CV, because it's there. I don't need to ask you that, right? Oh, do you still live in this street, right? I want to know things that are not in the CV. And then I try to say, oh, is she anxious, smiling, happy, unhappy? Is he lying or not, right? But honestly, human beings, very good human beings, can analyze maybe 10, 20 different things, aspects. 95,000, it's just impossible. So what happened? They can create trends and say, look, someone that start, with moving the eyebrows, they stay longer in the job or not. I have no idea, but they do that. And this is making a massive change. Go on highview.com, you'll see their clients. All major companies are their clients. And of course, I'm not even talking, imagine the impact in terms of bias that this could happen. Highview had to stop this interviewing process because the law asked them to stop because of discrimination against minorities, and because of religion, because of race. Why? Because the machine has no bias at all. Who has bias? It's us. The machine just make it much faster. So if you have bias and you teach the machine to have bias, they will have a perfect bias. This is what happens. The machine has no clue of what it's doing. It's just following a probabilistic model based on the instructions you gave to the machine. So this is something, trust me, the chances that you will be interviewed by an avatar, if you look for a job 3 years from now, it's 99%. And it will be so normal as doing a Zoom meeting. You say, I'll do an interview, It's just an avatar. Yeah, and it will be normal. Because this is a big trend. For example, for you to compose teams, assemble teams, this will be a trend. I'm not saying, again, if this is good or not. I'm just saying this is a trend. And we'll need to handle that. The second thing is support to the PMO. And there are tools now, like, for example, this Umata that I think it's brilliant. There are several others, but let me show you this video. So this video, what I would do, it's a very fast video. I went to the Accountability Office of the government of the United States. I downloaded the report of the James Webb Space Telescope. And I asked that PDF document of 37 pages, what are the risks I need to be aware for my meeting about the James Webb in 5 minutes? This is what I did. So look my workflow. I went to the website quickly. I scroll, full report. I downloaded the full report. I uploaded on Umata. I uploaded, then I opened, and then I wrote here, like ChatGPT, the question. I did that, okay? The question that I need to be aware of. It presented to me the answers, including the pages where the risks were. I use this all the time today. This is the perfect way for me to summarize ideas. And look, like Umata, there are 25 different applications to do that. So to summarize PDF, you can put a PDF of a document, and then you say, can you summarize it for me in 10 lines? It will do, okay? It will do easily for you. The third trend is faster project definition, planning, and reporting. I would love to show you more tools, but there are 2 tools. I will show you one now, but before I show it, I want to tell you about another one that I want you to try. It's called Magic To Do. Just put on the web this Goblin Tools Magic To Do. It's a free tool that creates WBS charts. And you put travel to whatever, and then you press the plus button, and it will decompose, and it will make the process of creating a WBS chart for you in a matter of seconds, okay? In a matter of seconds. Another one is this one. This is Gamma. It's one of my favorite to create websites, reports, and presentations. Take a look on this. I take the website. I said, what's the topic? I want a presentation for a business case of an employee training program. It created for me the topics using GPT, and it suggesting to me the template, and the presentation is ready. Okay, it's ready. It creates, and all the content, all the images. The only input I gave was, I need a business case of the employee training program. I gave that prompt, and this was the result. This is Gamma, G-A-M-M-A, okay? This is just a trend, like Magic To Do, and these tools I'm showing you are already available, okay? The fourth one is virtual assistants. Virtual assistants. It's someone that can be on your side doing and supporting you. And the tool I need to show you, and this I just need to make a disclosure because I am the founder and one of the investors. It's the Moto. Okay, it's the Moto. And the Moto, it's not the current one, this is one version before. It's not publicly available yet, okay, but there are 2,000 people on the waiting list, so we are releasing slowly, and it's a ChatGPT with knowledge on project management. So it's a large language model that combines project management knowledge with the natural language. It means companies can upload, for example, their methodology, their projects, and they can access in their private server. And for example, this will reduce training. It means 24 hours per day, you will have something to check and say, Can you suggest me a project as a reference? Can you do that? Can you teach me what is the best way to present this? How do I do a procurement process here? So all this knowledge, and let me show you quickly the video here. Let me, oops, okay. Then look, you put, it's not this, it's now it looks better than this. But look, this is just giving you a list of, for example, how do you start a project? This is just a very simple example, and it comes with the files and the documents and this. This is not a big trend. Let me just stop here and tell you one thing. Do you know that Bloomberg is releasing a large language model for finance that will be the ChatGPT of finance? When they release that, they will change completely the financial sector. Because all the information usually available in these Bloomberg terminals will be using generative AI. So it will transform this information to the masses. So this is an example, and to be a virtual assistant for finance. So what we'll see more and more, this kind of virtual assistant. And this will happen. And probably, okay, probably, we will see Moto in the future as part of Microsoft Office, as part of this as a co-pilot to do that. So this is a big, big trend, and this will reduce the cost of training, time for training. For example, you don't need to think, what is the latest template for a report? And at the end, you will may even think, maybe I don't need a report anymore, right? Another thing, number 5, software testing, and this is very specific for software. Instead of having people testing software, testing features, you can have tools like this Trisense testing that is an AI-based test. You want to say, I want 2,000 people testing this application now for me. And you can do that. You can do that, and you can do that easily. Okay, and this is a big trend that will save a lot of time for you, for example, to implement new features, for example, if you are developing software. And then it's the new role for the PM. And this is how I want to end my presentation. Say, okay, on this environment, what would be the role of the project manager? Right, based on these 5 topics, what will be, how it will look like? And this is basically what we discuss on the panel here. First one, it's a role underlined by volatility. It means this VUCA concept, it's not something like, oh, things will calm down. It will not. We always think, it's raining, but the raining will be over soon. No, it's raining, and you need to learn how to survive and live with the rain. And I want to give you, don't worry about the slides, so it will be available for you. But now let's transform this in practical terms. Practical things we can do on that. First, you need to sit this weekend and say, how likely my job will be affected? My current job, the job I'm doing right now, will be affected. And what will be the consequences? Because maybe you don't see your job being dramatically affected. Maybe you will see. The second is the same question, but for your company. Because sometimes you say, my job is not very affected, but my company business will be dramatically affected. You need to understand and try to identify this. And you must use AI tools every day. You must, even if you don't like. And you need to learn a new one once a week. And I need to give you a tip here. Take something you like. I'm sure there will be an AI tool for it. So if you want, for example, to cook, there is ChatGPT. Do you know? Yes, ChatGPT. You tell what you have in your kitchen, in your pantry, and it will give you a recipe with what you have using AI. ChatGPT. So if you like music, you can find Beethoven. It's a little bit different, the writing, and you can compose music. Look, anything you want, you will find an AI tool to help you. And try to use your hobby, because it's a way for you to get more used to that. Even, I'm not saying you should take your confidential information of your, no, but you need to get more used to that, more used to this environment that AI, this mass response. For example, ChatGPT, you need to use it. You need, for whatever, because it will help you to understand what is behind. The second is a role that is based on our ability to unlearn. And I love the concept of unlearning. Learn is one thing, unlearn is another thing. Unlearn, you need to unpack what is already in your mind. And I love this drawing of this bike that has, you know, this gear that does the opposite. You move the handle this way, it goes to this. It's the opposite. And let me do, I know my time is running, but let me do one little test here. How long do you think you can learn how to use this bike? How long? Who thinks you can do this in less than 1 hour? Just raise your hand. Okay, couple, okay. Between half a day and 1 day. Raise your hands. Between half a day and 1 day. Okay. Between 1 day and 5 days. Raise your hand. Don't be shy. Okay. Between 5 days and a month. Okay. And more than a month. Okay. The answer is 8 months. And then you ask, why? Why on earth? And this is a video from Destin in the YouTube channel Smarter Every Day. I will show you. And I mean, he said that it took him 8 months to unlearn how to bike. Why? Because when you learn how to bike, it's something that is written in your DNA. And then it's so automatic that when you shift that, your brain needs to be completely rewired. Because you don't know. And this is why it's so hard for us to unlearn. We have a lot of beliefs inside us that we struggle to unlearn. So quickly here, it's my suggestion here to help you on that in practical terms. Watch that YouTube video. Take 7 minutes. Stop using TikTok. And watch 7 minutes of this. It will be worth, and you will see how unlearn is hard. Join BJ Fogg Tiny Habits. This website, called tinyhabits.com, is an amazing website, and it's free. He has a 5-day course to help you to unpack some of your, I would say, current beliefs and thoughts. It's great. And BJ Fogg is a professor of Stanford University. And exercise creativity. Go out of your comfort zone. And I was speaking outside just before here. And this is one of the reasons several of you saw my newsletter that I was at the Burning Man 3 weeks ago. Look to me. I have nothing to do with Burning Man. Nothing. You know, I'm a perfect, squared, normal, completely inside the box based on societal standards. And why I was there? Exactly to do things differently, to see a different planet, because otherwise you don't unlearn. You don't see that there are different possibilities. And then when AI comes, what is your first reaction? This will fail. For example, first thing I hear when I tell someone about AI, it's very common, it's, oh, AI hallucinates. It has hallucinations. Say, you have hallucinations too. But do you think hallucinations on AI will last forever? Do you think we're talking about a baby of 10 months? Do you think ChatGPT will have hallucinations 5 years from now? No, it will not. It will not. So you need to open your mind that this is the new way of working. This will be a fact that we cannot avoid. So this is why it's so important you open your mind to these different possibilities. Fear, okay? It's a role that is able to manage fear, because when you transform people are uncomfortable, it's hard. And and don't think that because, I have a consolidated profession, I'm talking about myself, I have a very good life, I do what I love and I can make my living out of that I don't have fear. Of course, I have panic. When I saw this generative AI for the first time in the flight to Malaysia, I said, oh my God, what will happen? And what I want in practical terms to you, it's first, just think, because I know that this is, I try to talk this to my 2 daughters, and it's hard because every time we are dominated by the panic, now I will lose my job, now everything will collapse. Remember, we are all feeling the same challenge. Let's not panic, because panic will not help. If panic would help, we will teach here how to get in panic. Panic is not good. So you need to manage that. And it's very easy for you to get in panic. The second tip I want, reduce your usage of social media by 50%. Trust me, social media is fantastic, but it's one of the key drivers of you to get in panic. And it's not about Instagram, where everybody looks so gorgeous, right? And it creates a massive destruction of self-esteem, mainly in young females. But LinkedIn too. Because what happens in LinkedIn? Oh, I got this new certification, I got this new job, I got this new, and then what do you think about yourself? And say, oh my God, I'm falling behind. Everybody published 3 certificates a week. And I don't, right? Just reduce that. It's not helping you. It's not helping you. I'm not saying reduce to 0, but you don't need to check every day, right? You don't need to check every day. Just be mindful of that. And practice mindfulness. I do that every day, 15 minutes. Mindfulness. It's the time to be present, the time to be with yourself, and it's an exercise for you to be present at the present moment. These reduce your panic and your stress. And last but not least, fear does not grow in a linear scale. What happens is that you feel nothing, you feel nothing, you feel nothing, and suddenly you get in panic. It's like meeting deadlines. Right? You think, I will make it, I will make it, I will make it, I will make it, I will not make it, right? Yes, I'm just saying. And when AI comes, for example, it's hard. So what do I do? This is personal. I subscribe something like 10 or 15 newsletters of AI and technology and quantum computing and how they affect business. And I don't read all of them, but I skimmed. You know, I go and do a quick read and trying to identify triggers to what could affect my job. Triggers, something like ChatGPT released the code interpreter, like it did in July. Because with code interpreter, I can upload a spreadsheet and ask any question I want about that spreadsheet, and it will analyze for me. And I said, wow, this will change the way we behave. I will present about that at the PMI conference in Atlanta in October. These will change, and this is the trigger you need to see. So what you need to be mindful on where the triggers are for your job, for what you are doing. So you need to be mindful, because then you can anticipate that. So these are the practical. And my last slide is this sentence that was written by a poet in Brazil. And I think it's so true to summarize this 30 minutes. It's when we truly think we have all the answers, we know, then life comes and changes everything, all the questions, right? I always remember when, because I started my career teaching Microsoft Excel, okay? Truly. I met my wife teaching, she was my student. Yeah, I was 22 at that time. So teaching, and do you know what I always said? It's a permanent learning. Because did you see that every time you learn how to use a tool, they change the version? And then they change and they say, oh, the new version. And then you spend a month trying to say, where is that button? Right? Because now, and then they say, now there is no button. And then you learn how to use the keyboard. And then they say, no, now there is no shortcut anymore. And then right? It's life. For example, today we're talking about AI. AI is just one step. Maybe 1 year from now, we will talk about other things. I'm publishing an article on HBR this month about green algorithms. It's the use of AI in project management to improve sustainability. So look, you are combining. Maybe tomorrow, people will combine different things. And this is exactly what we need. Okay, this is exactly. So with that, I just want to thank you very much. I extended a little bit more. Thank you very much. Thank you for having me. I'm sorry, today I'm not 100% because after 31 hours on the plane, but thank you very much for having me here. Thank you, Edita and Inga, for having me here, and I wish you a wonderful not conference, we are finished, but a wonderful learning from the conference, okay? Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you.